This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. As an empowered individual, you do have options available where Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Let's go. Hello, everybody. Let's go ahead and open up that waiting room and let people in, as yes, this is a live Zoom here on Daily with Doc and Becca. If you'd like to join us live and you're watching on one of the different streaming platforms, you're more than welcome to do so Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. That is 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, and 3 to 4 Eastern time by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. Put that in your URL. Again, zoom.dailywithdoc.com. YGY.com. Now, if you're out on any of these streaming app platforms and you have a way of commenting, please comment. Let us know where you're joining us from. But most importantly, make sure that you subscribe so that you can get notifications when we come live. Go to our website, dailywithdoc.com, sign up for our email list so you can also get notifications of upcoming events and also post events that have easy links so that you can do a search and find the information that you're looking for so you can share. Share, folks. That's what this program is all about, is being a resource to an amazing community of individuals. Many of them are certified holistic health coaches. They're health practitioners. They're people that just love people, and more than just love people, want to see them thrive instead of just barely survive. So if somebody invited you to this program, make sure that you get back with them and tell them, thank you. Thank you for sharing this information with me. How can I get started? And today we're going to be talking about something that more and more people are being diagnosed with the symptoms of, which just totally breaks my heart because it should not be revolutionary. As we're talking about the brain, the gut, and Parkinson's with a different approach that you're not going to hear most places. So again, if you were invited by somebody specific, get back with them. If you were not and you have questions or want to get started on a program to help you choose a better health journey, there is a team with the Daily with Doc team who are certified holistic health coaches. You can reach them at 855-949-3377. Now, today's guest, we have with us Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, as this is going to be Pharmacist Fridays on Daily with Doc. Now, Pharmacist Ben is from Colorado. He specializes in using nutritional supplements when other practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs. He is a member of the Longevity Scientific Advisory Board. He's a health expert and a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie and many, many other programs. So Pharmacist Ben emphasizes the connection between overall health and skin health, and it's from the inside out, folks, and the outside in, but mostly the inside out. So with his holistic perspective, he teaches an understanding of how nutrition and lifestyle factors influence the body, even the skin. He also believes and knows that the human body is a healing and regenerating system designed to divinely heal and renew itself on a moment-by-moment basis. So, folks, get ready to take notes. And for those of you who are here live with us in the Zoom, I don't want to forget to say hello and welcome to you, as we are excited to have a nice full house today. And if you're here with us, make sure that you are watching that profile called Smile, a Smile. And that is what the others are seeing out on the different streams. But one thing that you get that they don't get is the chat. So make sure that you are watching that chat, as Marilyn and Phyllis both are going to be putting information in there. If you have questions, raise your hand, especially if there are questions regarding the topic that we have today. If you're out on the different platforms and there's a way to comment, especially if you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble, we do have people that are watching those streams for comments. So we'll get to all the comments that we absolutely can, questions as well. But it's super exciting, as we always have lots and lots of questions, Pharmacist Ben. So next week, we're just going to do questions. This week, we're going to be talking about Parkinson's. So everybody, help me welcome to the screen my mentor, my friend, Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Hello, Pharmacist Ben. Hello, hello.
Greetings. Is this our first show of the year? First show of the new year? Or we did one last year? We did one last year.
Last week. So this is the second.
Second. How you doing? You look nice. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. Thank you.
You look very handsome yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So
blue looks great on you.
Does it? Blue? that
It
my
does.
color? Blue's my
Well,
color?
I mean, there's lots of colors that look great on you,
Okay.
but blue looks great.
All right. I try to mix it up a little bit.
Me too.
I didn't always dress up for these, but I saw my friend Dr. Glidden always dressed up, and I figured I would, he looks more professional. So now I'm dressing up. Anyway, Parkinson's disease is very interesting. On the one hand, it's one of the most horrible health challenges, chronic diseases anybody can ever deal with. And on the other hand, it's so simple and so easy to address. And it's so easy for people with Parkinson's disease to notice benefits and changes and benefits associated with lifestyle changes, and quickly. And I've seen this happen many times. Doc's been talking about it for a long time. I've been talking about the relationship between digestive health and Parkinson's disease. As you know, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about digestive health and chronic disease. But today, even the mainstream medical model recognizes that dysbiosis, messed up gut bacteria, intestinal issues, intestinal permeability issues, toxicity in the blood, secondary to leaky gut, are linked to, if not the direct cause of the brain damage, the dopamine challenge that's associated with Parkinson's disease. In fact, one of the standard treatments now, or I shouldn't say standard treatments, but one of the up and coming treatments for Parkinson's disease is a very interesting therapeutic modality that people don't like to hear about sometimes.
I'm afraid this is one that it's like,
yeah, it's kind of
just
gross,
blows
right?
my mind.
It's kind of gross. Fecal transplants and oral dosing of fecal material. You can actually, I know it's kind of gross, but it's sterilized. They actually sterilize it first. But in any case, that goes to show you how important the connection is between intestinal health and Parkinson's disease. Now, I have to tell you, as somebody who's been dealing with the human body and biology and understanding and studying biology for a long time and working with patients, it just seems so logical to me to understand the link between what gets into the bloodstream and disease. It just seems like a no-brainer. But yet, we still have on the our medical representatives, our medical opinion shapers and doctors and healthcare professionals don't understand this link, or at least don't leverage this link as much as they should. And even worse, people, human beings, patients don't understand this connection. We're oblivious to the relationship between what we put in our blood and our health challenges, particularly when it involves chronic disease and inflammation. But it's just logical. When we talk about stuff getting into the body, well, let me backtrack real quick. All health challenges are based in reactions, right? We can call them inflammation, you can call them symptoms, you can call them pain or discomfort, you can call them dizziness or lack of energy, but it's all really based on inflammation. Inflammation is a defensive response. Inflammation and defensive responses are defensive responses that are reactions. Reactions. So far, so good, Becca? Reactions.
Absolutely.
What we call symptoms are reactions. What we call health challenges are based in reactions. Health misery is reactive. It's all about reactions. So what's a reaction? A reaction is a response to an action. It's just etymology. It's just words. Reaction, which we all know is manifests itself as all the misery that's associated with health challenges, is a response to an action. It's the body's response to an action. So in other words, the body's responding to something. So what is it responding to? It's responding to something that's gotten inside it. That should be just logical. That shouldn't be confusing, right? It's just logical. So when we talk about something getting inside the body, what we really mean is something getting inside the blood. Inside the body is a euphemism for inside the blood. So when we say something got inside the body, we don't mean it got inside the tissue. We mean it got inside the blood. That's what inside the body refers to. So a reaction is a response to an action to something that has been inserted or inoculated or somehow has gotten into the body, which means it's gotten inside the blood. Okay, so far so good.
So beyond getting inside the digestive system,
Forget
it's in the
digestive
blood.
system. Forget digestive system. I'm going to get there. But
Okay.
it's not anything in the digestive system. It's inside the blood. In fact, the digestive system is like a hallway into your living room or into your kitchen or into your bedroom. It's a holding ground. And technically speaking, it's really not inside your body if it's in the digestive system, in the sense that the digestive system is segregated from the rest of the body, and for good reason. Because you don't want just everything that's getting into that goes into your digestive system to go into the blood. Because we eat all kinds of things, and from an evolutionary perspective, we ate all kinds of poisons, and we ate all kinds of bacteria, microbially contaminated food. And so the digestive system is kind of like a holding ground. And then things get into the blood from the digestive system in a very controlled and regulated fashion. Just like immigration, when you go to another country, you think of the digestive system as customs. You know, if you ever go to Mexico or Canada or another country, you don't go right into the country. You go to customs first. And they interview you and they ask you questions and they decide if they want to let you in the country. What are you carrying? What's in your bags? What are you doing here? You know, most of us have experienced this. Why is that? Because you don't want to just have anybody getting into your country. You want to know who's coming into your country. Likewise with the body. You have customs and immigration at the level of the barrier between the digestive system and the blood. Because nothing is supposed to get into the blood unless it's been vetted, any more than anybody's supposed to go into another country unless they've been vetted. So there's a vetting process. And that vetting process occurs at the level of the intestine, and it's a cellular vetting process. There's actually cells that determine whether that substance that is knocking on the door is bad or good, or is a bad guy or a good guy. If it's a bad guy, it doesn't get in. If it's a good guy, it gets in. And the way it gets in is kind of fascinating and very, very amazing process how things get into the blood through the digestive system. But the point is that it's a very tightly controlled process. Over the course of time, as the impact of nutritional deficiencies kick in, as the impact of toxicity kicks in, and as the impact of disturbances in the bacterial population of the intestine, everybody on this call probably knows that there's a microbiome and there's bacterial. There's a universe of bacteria that live in the intestine, collectively referred to as the microbiome. As the impact of changes in the microbiome occur, which are due to chlorine and fluoride and antibiotics and poor food choices, et cetera, and inflammation at the level of the barrier, again related to toxicity, also to disturbances in gut bacteria, dysbiosis, as well as, by the way, fried fats, which are incredibly inflammatory for the digestive system. Hormones can be inflammatory, particularly estrogen can be inflammatory for the lining of the digestive tract. Over the course of time, in combination with lack of nutrition or nutritional deficiencies, the lining of the intestine becomes inflamed. The guards, if you will, go to sleep. The immigration guards, the custom guards go to sleep, and things sneak into the bloodstream. Once things sneak into the bloodstream, you are off to the disease races. And while all disease is cell disease, all disease is cell disease, all cell disease is preceded by dirty blood. And when I say dirty blood, I mean thick, sludgy blood, literally thick, sludgy blood. The blood, counterintuitively, we don't really see it this way, is a tissue. It's a liquid tissue. It's an organ, if you will. It's a liquid organ. It looks like just a liquid. The average person probably thinks it's just liquid. It's not just liquid. It's a tissue. It's a substance that it has the same kind of complexity as any other tissue or organ of the body. It's got working parts inside of it, lots of them. It's got a whole molecular universe inside of it. And the constituency of the blood is tightly controlled. The pH, the acid level, the oxygen level, the hydration level, the enzyme level, the thickness or the thinness of the blood. There's so many factors that come into play when it comes to maintaining the constituency, or the consistency, I should say, of the blood. Once things get into the bloodstream inappropriately through this leaky gut, and when I say things, I'm talking about bacteria, I'm not about pieces of bacteria, I'm talking about food particles like gluten. I'm talking about white blood cells or immune cells. And I'm talking about secretions from bacteria, as well as secretions from immune cells. Once they get into the bloodstream, the blood becomes distorted. Remember, it's an organ. You've now distorted an organ, and not just an organ, the most important in the body, because it's the blood that's going everywhere. The blood is what distributes everything to every cell, head to toe, top to bottom. It gets everywhere. So the body has a system for preventing toxicity from getting distributed to the cells. And the main mechanism is thickening. By thickening, the blood circulation slows down, and this mitigates the distribution of toxins. It's a protective response. Thickening is a protective response, just like inflammation is a protective response. And in fact, the thickening of the blood is inflammation. It's blood inflammation. And while I talk about it as dirty blood, just because I like the way it sounds kind of graphic and it sort of gives us a picture of what's happening, it's really inflamed blood, just like it's a tissue. And that's something that we don't really understand or think about if we don't think about or understand the blood as an organ or as a tissue. The blood inflames. This inflammation is exactly the same kind of inflammation that happens when you get a black eye, or the inflammation that occurs when cells become distorted. And the blood becomes when blood becomes inflamed, it doesn't move as well, it doesn't move as effectively, and it's a protective response. But because the blood has to deliver oxygen and nutrients and remove toxins from the cells, none of that happens effectively. So this should be complete logic to anybody, even if you don't understand chemistry or biology or health. If the blood becomes toxic and sludgy and slow, it's not going to be able to do its thing. It's not going to be able to distribute oxygen and nutrients and detoxify. And on top of that, now you've got toxicity that's floating around inside the blood. So of course disease is going to ensue. Of course it's going to happen. It can't help but happen. That's disease, people. It's not medical. There's nothing at all that's medical about this. This is strictly lifestyle. And again, it's hidden in plain sight. We've got more doctors and more devices and more drugs and more protocols and more insurance companies and more hospitals and more of everything that has to do with health. And we spend more money on health than any other culture in the history of mankind. And what do we get for it? We're the sickest and the fattest and the most diabetes ridden. Our longevity drops every year and we're miserable. So clearly the medical model isn't working on this, and it can't, because it's all about the stuff that's getting into the blood. And this is all chronic degenerative disease. And the reason I find Parkinson's disease so fascinating, because it's a poster child for this. And the good news is once you start to make corrections at the level of the intestine and even upstream, at the level of the stomach and perhaps even the pancreas and the gallbladder and other digestive structures, you notice changes quickly, almost immediately. And you can prove this to yourself. I always want people to prove things to themselves. As logical as this may sound, I want you to everybody to test this out themselves by fasting, by stopping the stream of toxicity. And everybody who fasts notices that their inflammatory issues start to subside. Their chronic disease, degenerative disease symptoms start to subside once they stop putting food in the system. Now, of course, you got to put food in your system. So when you start again, just fast so you can observe, and fast so you can give yourself a break, give your body a break, your immune system a break, and your digestive system a break. But eventually you're going to have to start eating again. You start eating carefully, very carefully, and respect for food is so important. You know, we've got this thing called the bad foods and the good foods, the 10 bad foods and the 10 good foods, but it's so much more than that. That's just the beginning step. That's the tricycle version. That's the training wheels version of dietary modification. But here's where it becomes a problem. And I'm sure there's people I'm looking at, the longevity folks here, and you're all listening, but I'm sure there's people who are listening on YouTube and Rumble who are rolling their eyes. Oh my God, there goes Ben talking about food again, talking about digestion again, blah, 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 It's just because it's logical and because you have to be able to address this. And just like it says in the Bible, Hosea 4:6, my people perish for lack of knowledge. This is so critical to understand because we're perishing because we don't understand this. We're suffering because we don't understand this. And our medical folks aren't telling us this because our medical folks are in bed with our food folks. And in fact, the drug companies and the food companies are integrated. They're all owned by the same companies. Drug companies and medical companies are owned by these big asset management funds, and they're all in bed together. There's a place in Philadelphia called the Menell Institute. The Menell Institute is a think tank with laboratories where they study chemicals, and it's funded by drug companies and food companies. And the chemicals they study are the chemicals that they can put into foods to keep you eating. They have the greatest, most brilliant biochemists and PhDs studying the molecules it takes to keep us eating. And so when we eat foods, for the most part, the vast majority of the foods we eat, we're eating them because our strings have been pulled by puppet masters. And we're like marionettes. And every time we drive into McDonald's, we're like marionettes, like puppets being yanked around by puppet masters. And nobody is telling us this because nobody wants to kill the goose that laid the golden eggs. The food industry, big food, if you will, as well as big agri and not to mention big pharma, employ more people than any other industry. They make more money and especially profits than any other industry. And they're entrenched and embedded into the society and into the culture like no other industry is. And that means with government, and that means with medical authorities and our opinion shapers. And so what we want to do is we want to start to get angry. And I try not to get too angry because you don't want to lose your cool, but if you really understand it, it's demonic. And we're participating. You know, we had this horrible viral infection, or this horrible, it wasn't really horrible, but the impact of it was horrible. A couple of years ago, everybody wanted to wear masks and everyone wanted to lock themselves in. And in some countries, they actually hammered you into your house with a hammer and nails. In China, they put bars on the door. You couldn't get out of your house. In Israel, they had drones that looked in the windows to make sure that you were stuck in your house. They wouldn't let you go anywhere unless you were injected. They shut down your business. And you had these awful, awful, awful medical doctors on television promoting this, these awful human beings. And I'm not blaming all doctors for this, but the ones who are on TV talking about this. But the lines at Chick-fil-A were just as long, if not longer. The lines at Taco Bell and McDonald's, they were all kept open. You couldn't go to the gym, but you could get your Big Mac. And this is the kind of culture we live in. So of course we're going to be dealing with this chronic degenerative disease crisis where at 40%, 40 to 50% of Americans have at least one chronic degenerative disease. 20 to 30% have two or more chronic degenerative diseases. This is obscene. This should not happen. So we have to get our heads around the fact that what we eat matters. And our digestive health matters, and not because I'm some hippy dippy guy from Boulder, Colorado, who's telling you to eat organic and, you know, David Avocado Wolf, and you got to make sure that you eat your fruits and vegetables. And that's not what this is about. This is about feeling good. This is about accessing your longevity. This is about reversing disease. When you add all of this horror, if you will, of toxicity that gets into the body and digestive disaster, and the digestive disaster that represents the foods that we eat, when you add to that the fact that nutrients are absorbed through the intestine, and once the intestine becomes toxic and inflamed, you're not going to absorb your nutrients, meaning you're going to be malnourished. In addition to toxic, you've got a 1-2 punch of toxicity and malnourishment that cannot help but lead to disease states. And you can prove this to yourself if you're dealing with a health challenge by changing the way you eat or by fasting and noticing how you feel. Parkinson's disease is a poster child for this process. In fact, one of the ways you can get Parkinson's disease is by injecting drugs. And it turns out that people who inject crack and heroin and drugs in the back alley, illegal drug users, they get Parkinson's disease too, because they're doing the same thing. And while we talk about digestive health, if you're injecting things in through your skin, you're violating the sanctity of the blood in another way. And that's why you really want to be careful about anything that you inject into the body or into the blood through the skin. So long story short, work on digestive health. It's now accepted. It's now accepted by the mainstream, and all you got to do is go on Google and look up histamine, which is a inflammatory molecule that's linked to the destruction of the part of the brain that's associated with Parkinson's disease, dysbiosis in Parkinson's disease, leaky gut in Parkinson's disease. And by the way, people who have Parkinson's disease know always, and I've been dealing with Parkinson's disease patients for decades, always they have digestive health issues. Always. Not 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100. Every single time. So working on digestive health and working on dysbiosis is extremely important. Real quickly, dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter that is associated with Parkinson's disease, is made in a part of the brain called the black area, or the black substance. Substantia nigra, which is black substance in Latin, is where dopamine is made. And this is where the part of the brain that gets destroyed or becomes inflamed when you have Parkinson's disease, and dopamine production then declines. You don't have enough dopamine. Dopamine is your reward neurotransmitter. What does that mean? It's a neurotransmitter, brain chemical. Neurotransmitter just means brain chemical that makes you feel like you won the lottery. It makes your brain go, yippee. When dopamine goes up, you feel good. And from an evolutionary perspective, dopamine goes up when we do something beneficial for ourselves or our species. Dopamine is designed to go up when you cross the mountain to see what's on the other side of the hill, when you find a mate, when you complete a project, when you accomplish a goal. Parkinson's disease is a disease where you can't accomplish goals. People who have Parkinson's disease can't lift water to their mouth. They go like this. They shake. Muscular movement is rewarded when it's completed. So just opening up a doorknob makes your dopamine go up. Lifting a cup of water to your mouth makes your dopamine go up, let alone completing a complex project. In fact, if you remember the last time you did your taxes or finished a book or washed the dishes or cleaned the garage or did something that you were procrastinating about, you'll remember that you felt really good when you were done. That good feeling was dopamine. And that's what dopamine is supposed to do. It's supposed to get us to wash the dishes, to finish our book or our project or our taxes or clean the room or clean our garage or whatever it is. That's what dopamine is supposed to do. But today, we've actually figured out how to hack into dopamine, how to get dopamine levels to rise so we can get that pleasure, that reward, that yay, I just won the lottery feeling, without having to wash the dishes, without having to find a mate, without having to explore over the hill to see what awaits us over the mountain, to move us forward. All the things that dopamine was designed to do. We've learned how to hack into it, and this is what they study at the Menel Institute. They study what chemicals they can put in the food that will make your brain go yippee, like you just won the lottery. We're hacking into it. That's why people get addicted to substances. All the addictive substances that we love so much, whether it's food or whether it's illegal drugs or whether it's cigarettes or alcohol or gambling or bungee jumping, all the things that people get addicted to, they're addicted to not because of the smoking. Nobody's addicted to smoking. Nobody's addicted to bungee jumping. Nobody's addicted to sugar and chemicals in food. We're addicted to dopamine. It's the dopamine we're looking for. Unfortunately, the body has a tendency to down-regulate responses when they happen chronically. So over time, the dopamine response gets turned down. The volume gets turned down, and you need more gambling and more drugs and more sugar and more sex and more of whatever your your addictive substances to get more of a dopamine rush. Parkinson's disease is when you don't get a dopamine rush, which is why one of the symptoms of Parkinson's disease is something called anhedonia. Anhedonia means inability to feel pleasure because you're not getting that dopamine hit. You're not getting that dopamine response because you're not making dopamine. So what do you do? How do you deal with this? Listen, it's so simple that I feel almost silly saying it because I say it all the time. And I'll tell you what it is before I tell you. AJ, my smart friend, what's the disease that smart people suffer from?
Overthinkitis.
Overthinkitis. Do not overthink. And if you go to the doctor, by the way, to get a Parkinson's disease drug, chances are you're going to get a dopamine analog, a dopamine mimic, something that imitates dopamine, levodopa. Levodopa is not supposed to be in the blood all the time. It's only supposed to be in the blood when it's needed, just like all hormones. Neurotransmitters are a type of hormone. And this is the problem with hormone therapy. Whether it's dopamine or whether it's thyroid hormone or whether it's female hormone replacement therapy for menopausal women or andropausal men, that's not how hormones work. Hormones are supposed to be secreted as needed. You're not supposed to just take a hormone. So while levodopa may relieve some of the symptoms in the short run, in the long run, it's not a solution, and the destruction to the brain is continuing. And by the way, the destruction to the part of the brain that causes Parkinson's disease doesn't only cause movement disorders, it can also cause brain cognitive issues. And there is a type of dementia called Parkinson's dementia, which is, from a symptomatic standpoint, exactly the same as Alzheimer's dementia. It just happens in a different part of the brain, but it's the same kind of symptoms. So what do you do for your Parkinson's patient? And I dealt with a lot. In fact, I'm dealing with one right now he's absolutely blown away by what's happening to him. And this is really what happens to patients. You guys have all heard us talk, myself and Dr. Wallach, and all the longevity. You've all heard us say this, but don't forget, most of the country, most of the world doesn't know any of this stuff. Most of the country has no idea that the foods they're eating and the nutrients that they're missing are causing their chronic health challenges. And I'm talking to this guy, I've been talking to him now for a couple months in Alabama, and Parkinson's disease, and he couldn't move his leg, and he's freaking out, and he's old, and he's got all of these problems, and nobody's helping him. In less than a week, in less than 1 week, he had significant changes. Now 2 or 3 months later, and he is all over it. And he has a few little symptoms left, but his Parkinson's disease symptoms have almost completely disappeared. And he's been going to doctors for months for this, for years for this. In fact, he called me up just last week on Friday. He called me up and he said he decided to do a test, and he ate a bag of potato chips. And all of a sudden, his symptoms came back from one bag of potato chips, let alone if he was eating the standard American diet or eating the standard American way. He noticed his symptoms came back with one bag of potato chips. You better believe he's not eating potato chips again. This is a guy who's dedicated. Not everybody is dedicated, but this is what is possible. And if longevity represents anything, it represents possibility. What is possible? Do you know what that does for a Parkinson's disease patient who's been suffering? And it's unspeakable what happens with Parkinson's disease. I don't really, just imagine this, where you shake like this. You can't stop shaking. It's the most horrifying health challenge. It's even horrifying to look at somebody who has Parkinson's disease. It's so dreadful. Can you imagine what you can do for a patient when you show them, a Parkinson's patient, when you show them how simple it is to make these changes simply by using some key critical supplements and working on digestive health? There's no greater work a human being can do. You want to talk about God's work? This is the work of an angel. Longevity gives us this opportunity to create these kinds of changes and have these kinds of effects on the vast majority of people who are suffering from chronic diseases. Remember, the vast majority of people suffering from chronic diseases know nothing about this. So step one, always with all chronic degenerative diseases, whether you're a patient or whether you're whether you're somebody helping a patient, or whether you're a longevity rep, who's helping a patient and who has a business, the first step you always do is you have the patient note or chart or make a diary of the relationship between the foods they're eating and their symptoms. Just that alone will give the patient an understanding of the impact of their lifestyle choices on their symptoms, on their health challenges. And that's critical, not to blame anybody, but to give them power, because what they're hearing is you're stuck with this. What the patient is hearing is your mother had it, so you're going to have it. What your patient is hearing is, or what the patient is hearing is that they're going to be on this medication the rest of their life. What the patient is hearing, there's nothing they can do about it. This is what the patient is hearing. So once they see, oh my God, every time I have bread, I get my symptoms increase. My symptoms, I get more symptoms. My shaking increases. Once I have potato chips or fried foods or whatever it is, they start to get power. This is an incredible gift that we can give people, even if we don't do anything else, just to show them that their lifestyle choices are the determining factor in how healthy or not healthy they'll be. So that's why food diary is so important. The food diary does another thing. A food diary vests the patient in their own healing process. So they are now a participant. It's no longer about you fix me, which is what the medical model wants us to think. Don't worry about anything, we'll fix you. Just like in the Middle Ages, the priest used to say, don't worry about anything, we talk to God for you. You just have to give us your house and 10% of your income or whatever it is, and we'll talk to God for you. Don't worry about it. Today, our priests are medical priests. They say, you go to McDonald's, you eat whatever you want to eat, we'll take care of your Parkinson's disease for you. Of course, they don't take care of it. They just drug you and mask the symptoms at best. So it vests the patient in the healing process. Number one, it shows the patient the power of their lifestyle choices and the impact of their lifestyle choices on their health challenges, and it gives them a sense of control over their lives. And number two, it makes them participants in the health process. And you always want your patient to be a participant. You don't want to be a pseudo doctor where you're doing the same thing a doctor's doing, having them come to you to take care of them. You want them vested. And then number three, it shows them you know what you're doing. Can you imagine what it shows a patient when they've been going to a doctor for years sometimes and getting no results, and their disease is getting worse, and the doctor's saying there's nothing they can do about it, and you come in and put them on a digestive program, or even have them fast and stop eating, all of a sudden their symptoms improve? Do you know what that does for you? You're a hero. Oh my God. They can't believe that. You showed me this, and I went to doctors for years and nobody showed me that. So it elevates you. It makes you a resource. It shows them how important and valuable you are in their life. So always, always, always do a food diary. In fact, even better, have people fast before they do a food diary. Fasting does a whole bunch of things. For one thing, you stop the stream of toxicity that's getting into the bloodstream. You give the digestive system a rest. For another thing, when you fast, the body goes through a process called autophagy, which is a biochemical phenomenon where the body will clean out dead and dysfunctional and old cellular material and poisons and toxins. And also, it will clean out the bowels. Remember, we talked about fasting, the migrating motor complex. It improves bowel functioning, so it improves elimination. Parkinson's patients are notoriously constipated. So with a fast, you get improvements in elimination, you get autophagy, you get a cessation of the stream of toxicity. People will feel better, and even better, when you fast, you start to notice things more clearly when you start eating again. See, the brain only notices things that are different. If something happens over and over again, the brain doesn't really pay attention. To the brain, if something happens over and over again, it's not that serious. But when it happens once in a while, if it's a dramatic change, the brain notices it. And for most people who have been eating a certain way, especially eating a certain way that's leading to toxicity or disease, they don't notice that they bloat. They don't notice that they have constipation. They don't notice that they have gas. They don't notice digestive discomfort. But when you fast and then all of a sudden you start eating again and you eat the same foods you always ate, all of a sudden you start to notice things. So fasting kind of is like hitting the reset button, in addition to improving detoxification, autophagy, and and digestive functioning, elimination. So fasting and a food diary. Then you start to notice foods, you start to eliminate those foods. That's step number one, fasting and a food diary and the elimination diet. Step number two is digestive support. And one of the coolest things about the longevity nutritional line is the digestive supplements. Doc loves the supplement. I love the supplement too. It's called I-26. It's a must-have for all chronic degenerative disease, for all digestive health challenges, but really for everybody. We can all benefit from I-26. I don't have any digestive health problems or chronic disease, praise God, at least, for now. You never know what's around the corner, but I take I-26 all the time. I take it almost every day. Some days I miss, but almost every day. And I like the powder. I know you guys, some people like the tablets, but I like the powder. Okay? Yeah, I go with the powder too. I-26. The nightly essence is the best probiotic supplement you're going to find. It's got multiple sources of bacteria, plus it's got enzymes in it as well. Particularly a blood cleaning enzyme called nattokinase, which is very helpful for cleaning the blood. And digestive enzymes, by the way, taken on an empty stomach, are very cleansing for the blood. They improve blood circulation. Digestive enzymes obviously will improve digestion as well. That's also important. And when you take your digestive enzymes, your ultimate enzymes, I suggest you take them with a little Beyond Tangy Tangerine, because acid activates the enzymes and Beyond Tangy Tangerine is acidic. And oh, by the way, one of the best times to do your Beyond Tangy Tangerine is with your food, with meals, for a lot of reasons. For one thing, once you got your digestive juices flowing, you'll be more likely to absorb nutrients. You'll be primed to absorb the nutrients in Beyond Tangy Tangerine. For another thing, Beyond Tangy Tangerine is acidic and it'll improve stomach acidity. And as I say, acid activates enzymes, plus it's important for digestion. And the nutrients in Beyond Tangy Tangerine are important for the digestive process too. Digestion requires nutrients. You'll find yourself eating less food when you drink Beyond Tangy Tangerine or use that as your beverage while you're eating your food. And sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you shouldn't drink water with your meals or liquids with your meals because it dilutes digestive juices. Nonsense. You need liquid with your meals, because when you eat food, particularly the kind of foods most of us are eating, or most Americans are eating, which is dry and doesn't have the natural moisture in it, processed foods particularly. Most of the foods we eat are processed and dried, they're cooked. It's much harder for the body to digest that food with that liquid. So you want liquid with your foods, and Beyond Tangy Tangerine will give you nutrients with that liquid, not to mention the acid that activates the enzymes and improves the digestive functioning. So digestive enzymes and apple cider, Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You can do apple cider vinegar too, but with Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you get the nutrients. I-26, the ultimate microbiome, is important for fiber. The Daily Digest is a bunch of different digestive health supplements that come in a packet. That's another great digestive nutrient. Let's see, am I missing? That's one I'm missing. That's the digestive. What am I missing here?
Oh, there's the Digest-fx that can be taken between meals.
No, I'm thinking of with meals. I think that might be it. Whatever, the digestive support. Go digestive support is the bottom line. Oh, another thing. FucoidZ or ZRadical, I like the FucoidZ better, but ZRadical also is very soothing for the intestine for folks who are dealing with leaky gut, and it's anti-inflammatory. Likewise, the body balance, the life force body balance, that's also very soothing and very healing for the digestive lining, for the intestinal lining for folks who are dealing with leaky gut. So step number one, fast, food diary, elimination diet. Step number two, digestive support supplements. And step number three, flat out nutrition, particularly the healthy brain and heart pack. Obviously, it's a brain. Parkinson's is a brain issue. Remember, when you have a digestive health challenge, you got toxicity going into the blood, but you also are going to be susceptible to malnutrition, because once the intestine is inflamed, it becomes much harder for the body to absorb nutrients, for the nutrients to get in through the intestine. That means you're going to be suffering from nutritional deficiencies on top of the toxicity. If you've had a gallbladder taken out, it's even worse, because now you're not going to absorb your fats. Or if you have fatty liver disease, likewise, you're not going to absorb your fat. So if you have digestive health issues, intestinal health issues, gallbladder issues, in addition to toxicity, you're dealing with malnourishment, so nutritional supplementation becomes extremely important. The Healthy Brain and Heart Pack will give you all your mighty 90 essential nutrients, plus it gives you selenium and extra fats for your brain. I would probably also throw in the Ultimate Niacin, which is very important for brain health. The Ultimate Niacin the disease that's caused by niacin deficiency. Remember, all essential nutrients have diseases associated with their deficiency states. The disease that's caused by niacin deficiency is a disease that's partially related to brain health problems, dementia. And that's niacin was actually used originally by the father of orthomolecular medicine, Dr. Abraham Hoffer, to treat brain diseases, schizophrenia and psychosis, but also dementia is associated. In fact, pellagra, which is the disease, which is niacin deficiency disease, is a skin disease, it's a digestive disease, and it's a brain disease. And the three signs, the four cardinal signs, they call them, if you go to medical school, it's the four cardinal signs of pellagra are dermatitis, diarrhea, dementia, and death. They call it the 4 Ds of pellagra. And the word pellagra actually means rough, dry skin. How many people that we know have rough, dry skin, and all they need is a little niacin? So I would throw in the ultimate niacin as well. And then, of course, the synaptive, which is specifically designed to improve the neural transmission, the activity or the actions of brain chemicals. So I would throw in the synaptive as well. And then I think the ultimate selenium is part of the healthy brain and heart pack. Selenium has got a lot of really interesting roles to play. Doc was probably the first guy to really talk about selenium. And in fact, Longevity is known for their legal work to allow selenium to be used, or to allow the benefits of selenium to be claims. The FDA didn't want you to say what selenium did, but Jonathan Emord and Dr. Wallach went to court and they got the FDA to allow claims for selenium. So selenium is extremely important for the brain. It's also important for the heart and for the immune system, for the liver. It plays a lot of roles in the body. Doc has been talking about selenium for years. I think I'll go out on a limb and say that's one of his favorite minerals. But selenium is also very important for the brain. It's also very important for the thyroid, as an aside. So I would throw in the ultimate selenium as well. So between digestive support nutrients, between fasting and the food diary and the elimination diet, and using specific nutrients for the brain, as well as the Mighty 90 essential nutrients, you can reverse, not cure, don't ever use the word cure, that's magic, reverse the symptoms of Parkinson's disease, and you can do it quickly. And that's the best part. You don't have to wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Most people will notice results in just a couple of days. Once they stop the stream of toxicity from getting into the blood, they will plateau if they don't follow the other steps, especially the food elimination of food elimination or the elimination diet. They'll plateau, they'll stay the same, which is still not a bad thing. At least they'll see some benefits, and they'll notice how much power they have over their symptoms. But you want your patient doing the whole shebang, so you go through the whole digestive support strategy, or the whole elimination diet and food diary and fasting strategy and digestive support strategy, as well as the micronutrient supplementation with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and the accessory nutrients. You'll notice results quickly. Your patient will notice results quickly. You will be a hero, and your patient will add years to their life and reduce the impact of this horrible, horrible scourge called Parkinson's disease.
So Mark wants to know, do you need tons of EFAs for Parkinson symptoms as well, which the Brain and Heart Pack has 2 different types.
Yeah, I don't know what tons means, but yes, a lot. Yeah, I'm assuming. So, yeah, I'm not going to I don't know what the quantity is, but I would take 9, 12, or 15 capsules a day if it was me.
And Dr. Wallach says at minimum 3 of the EFA plus, or 1 3 times a day, and then of the ultimate EFA, it's 2 3 times a day. So
that's 9.
There's 9 right there.
Yeah, that's 9. I would take 9. I would take even
minimum.
More. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ben, you, as you were going through and talking about the blood and the different parts of the blood and the blood being an organ, and then you start talking about dopamine. It's like, okay, I was like overwhelmed thinking, when am I ever going to take this program that I want to get into?
You're going to have fun.
I'm so exhausted. I don't know when.
You're going to have fun. And then I
did it.
Well, you're going to have fun. You're going to enjoy it, and you're going to see how much you know. You're going to
I did it, and you
already did it?
I do know quite a, yes. I mean, I was up all night long. I couldn't sleep. I kept going through the different modules, and we were talking about the blood and the digestive system and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where allopathic medicine, they're great for using pharmaceuticals, surgery.
Yeah, surgery. And there's times, look, there's times you need surgery. You break your leg, you need surgery. You know, you get, God forbid, you get into an accident, you need surgery. Rock falls on your head, you need surgery. There's definitely times, and that's what medicine should be about. It should be about saving your life in a disastrous situation. But for these chronic, long-term, drip, drip, drip lifestyle diseases, it's about us. You know, there's a saying, nature abhors a vacuum. And when we abdicate responsibility for our health, we create a vacuum. And because nature abhors a vacuum, somebody's going to come in there and fill it and said, I'll take care of it. And that's, by the way, when doctors do that, when doctors fill this vacuum created by abdication of our own health responsibility over our health, we call that medicalization.
Yeah.
And we have medicalized day-to-day life. We've medicalized lifestyle. And it's become about medicine. That's not the job of medicine, and it's not their fault. It's not really the doctor's fault. I don't like blaming them. Although, as I said, I have a special place in, there's a special place in hell for those awful medical professionals who told people to, do what they told them to do a few years ago.
Knowing the bad consequences.
That was a terrible thing. Yeah. But for the most part, they're not bad people, but it's up to us to take care of our health business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we have 3 hands up. Bill wants to know, would you do anything different for essential tremors?
No, I wouldn't do anything for essential, because that's what Parkinson's is, essential tremors. By the way, what does the word essential mean not in nutrition, but in medicine or disease? Medicine, we'll call it. Do you know what it means?
I don't know your definition.
Essential hypertension. You've heard the term maybe essential hypertension or essential tremors. What does that mean? It means it's just part of you. It's built into you. That's just you. An essential tremor is a tremor that's just you. It has no cause. It's just you. Essential hypertension has no cause or no known cause. It's just you. So an essential tremor is a tremor that the medical folks will say, that's just you. It's just you. There's nothing. It's just you. There's no such thing as an essential tremor. There's tremors. There's another word they call idiopathic. Idiopathic is, we don't know. We have no idea. It means, we're idiots. Idiopathic. We don't have any idea. So no, it's exactly the same thing. I will say that one of the coolest things about Beyond Tangy Tangerine, this absolutely spectacular nutritional supplement, which is induplicatable. There's nothing like it. This incredibly formulated product. One of the coolest things about this is the high concentration of readily absorbable B vitamins. And the B vitamins are your energy vitamins, and they allow muscles to do what muscles do and nerves to do what nerves do. And B vitamins are very important for all neural, brain, and muscular issues. And the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is absolutely packed with these neurocritical essential nutrients. So yes, essential tremors are the same. I'd be pounding the Beyond Tangy Tangerine also. And by the way, for Parkinson's too, pound the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Sip on it all day long.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to some questions,
okay,
and then I'll answer a question that other people are asking. AJ, what question do you have for Pharmacist Ben?
Pharmacist Ben, how are you today?
Hello, AJ. Good to see you.
Thanks for leaving us so much time for questions.
I know. Well, I told Becca.
Are you have a hard stop today?
A little after 2. I can get a few questions in.
Okay, Pharmacist Ben, first question came in by phone since you just mentioned B vitamins. The gentleman took his de-stress to his doctor, and they both said, what's this adrenal substance?
What is the adrenal substance? Adrenal glandular?
It says adrenal substance inside the de-stress.
It's adrenal substance. It's adrenal gland. Taking glandular medicine involves eating glands. And this is a tried and true strategy for health. You can eat thyroid gland, you can eat liver gland. Liver is a type of gland. You can eat pancreas gland, and you can eat adrenal gland. And when you eat adrenal gland, you get adrenal nutrients. You get all the substances that are in the adrenal glands. So it's a way of supporting the adrenal glands. De-stress, as obvious from the name, is used for stress, and your stress gland is the adrenal gland. So taking adrenal substance is a way of supporting your adrenal health, just like taking thyroid substance is a way of supporting thyroid health or pancreas substance pancreas health or liver substance liver health.
Got it. And Ray asks, what do you recommend for ED and prostate health?
ED, like Mr. Ed?
Like Mr. Ed, the horse is a
Or
horse?
Mr. Ed, what do I take from Mr. Ed?
Yeah.
Mr. Ed, there's so many reasons why people have ED, erectile dysfunction, which you can now say that. You couldn't say it when I started in pharmacy school. Or as a pharmacist, you couldn't say that. You know the medicine we had to make for ED back in the day was a long needle like this, this long, that was loaded with this medicine that would work instantly, and I mean work like you could hang your hat on it kind of work, you know. And it was it's called papaverine. They still make it now. You could use Viagra, and basically what these do is they override the body's chemistry. When you have ED, that's a metabolic, largely, there's a few reasons why it can happen, but the most important reason is metabolic syndrome, as I'm sure Becca knows from and Dr. Wallach. Becca and Dr. Wallach just wrote, if you guys don't know it, you probably know it on this call, but people who are listening in the future, get that book, Metabolic Syndrome. It explains a lot about chronic disease. It's very easy to read, and it has a ton of great information. Nice job, Becca. Nice job, Dr. Wallach. Dr. Wallach also wrote a book called Hell's Kitchen many years ago, which was kind of like one of the first books that talked about metabolic syndrome, even though it wasn't called metabolic syndrome back then. So the major reason why people have ED is metabolic syndrome. Now, the metabolic syndrome itself causes problems with the circulatory system, problems with the blood sugar, with cholesterol and blood fats, and it causes problems with the male hormone system. So treat ED as a metabolic symptom of metabolic syndrome. It can be complicated by body fat, which is also associated with metabolic syndrome. Obesity and body fat will produce female hormone. Female hormone will also have a negative effect on male sexuality. So between body fat and estrogen and metabolic syndrome and sugar, you have your main places to work on ED. You can't work on ED by itself any more than you can work on a rotten fruit by itself. You've got to work on the soil. This is the perfect metaphor to understand why you can't work on the disease where you see the disease largely. There's a few places where that's an exception, such as the digestive tract and the blood sugar system. But for the most part, you can't treat a symptom at the level of the symptom. And this is what accounts for the failure of the pharmacomedical model. They're trying to treat the symptom at the level of the symptom. The only way to do that is to shut things down, to block or to inhibit or to suppress, which is what our medicines do. You have ACE inhibitors and beta blockers and anti-inflammatories. We practice anti-medicine because that's the only way to shut down a symptom. You got to work upstream. You got to work before the symptom to change the symptom tomorrow. Once you have the rotten fruit, you can't unrotten it. You got to change tomorrow's fruit. You got to make tomorrow's fruit healthy. Once the fruit is rotten, there's nothing you can do about it except maybe cut it off. And that's what the medical model resorts to, is cutting off the rotten fruit by drugging it, by surgically removing it, by radiating it, by x-raying it, whatever it is, electrocuting it. There's all these mechanisms that they have for getting rid of the fruit. But guess what? If you haven't fixed the soil, the next fruit's coming back rotten too. So the trick is to take care of tomorrow's rotten fruit by working at the level of the soil and the root. In the case of ED, that's metabolic syndrome, blood sugar and healthy blood sugar pack, as well as, which is part of metabolic syndrome, lowering body fat, reducing body fat. There are some nutrients that will support male hormone production. Obviously, male hormone production is important. The zero test, for example, can help. Zinc FX can help in that regard. Probably the ultimate selenium. One of the hidden benefits or unknown benefits, relatively unknown benefits of the ultimate selenium is it helps protect against female hormone. As men get older, because of the body fat issue, they're making more female hormone. I call that the Santa Claus effect. The Santa Claus effect is where you're the guys who are tough and masculine and vigorous and manly and have all the man characteristics. As they get older, they become fat and jolly. I call that the Santa Claus effect. Men lose their edge. They become domesticated. And really, that's largely what's happening to us as citizens. We're becoming domesticated. You know, lions don't suffer from the same diseases as house cats. Wolves don't suffer from the same diseases as dogs. When we domesticated wolves and we domesticated cats, they get diabetes and they get depressed and they get fat and they get cancer and they get all of the diseases we get. Our diseases are diseases of domestication. There's a really cool book by a guy named Michael Easter called Killing Ourselves with Comfort. And that's what we're doing. We're killing ourselves with comfort. The body is not designed to thrive under conditions of comfort. It's designed to thrive under conditions of duress. We have a civilization of comfort that creates domestication, which is really the leading cause of all of our diseases. All the things we talk about, the lifestyle issues, smoking and lack of exercise, the sedentary lifestyle, and eating the processed food and excess ingestion of calories are really about domestication and comfort.
Pharmacist Ben, because you got 4 other hands up. Philip says, I'm having trouble with teeth being loose and gums receding, can't bite foods.
Yes, that's very important. In fact, it's so important, I think we should talk about that next week, but I'll just tell you right now, there's 4 major parts, or not parts, but the body is composed of 4 types of stuff. In biology, we don't say stuff. We say tissue, but it's stuff. So the body's made of 4 types of stuff, i.e. tissue. It's made up of I call it the flesh robot. I've talked about it before. That's the middle part of the body, the bulk of the body, 80, 85%, maybe 90% of the body is this flesh robot, which you've seen if you've seen the Bodies exhibit.
What's a technical term for the flesh robot?
I'll tell you in a second. The flesh robot if you go to the Bodies exhibit, you'll see the flesh robot. You can't tell if you see the flesh. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when I say the Bodies exhibit? You see the flesh robot, you can't tell if it was a Japanese person or a Chinese person or a black person or a white person, or it's just a flesh robot. It's the same. It's largely generic. We all have a flesh robot, and our distinct individual characteristics are gone when you see the flesh robot. And this flesh robot is electrified. And this electrification, or this electrified flesh robot, is candy coated, is covered with a coating. And those are the 4 types of stuff. It's not candy, but it's coating. The 4 types of stuff are the coating, the electrification, and the flesh robot, which is made up of 2 types of stuff. The coating is called epithelia, or epithelial tissue. The electrical nature, the electrical stuff, is called nervous tissue, nerve tissue, neurology. And the flesh robot is a combination of muscle tissue and connective tissue. And the connective tissue is the key. The connective tissue is the stuff that makes the muscles work. The muscles generate energy via the connective tissue, and the connective tissue acts mechanically to allow the muscles to move. So they're integrated, and the bulk of the body is connective tissue and muscle tissue. The nervous tissue electrifies the whole thing. It's all protected, among other things, by the epithelial tissue. The point is, it's the connective tissue that's responsible for everything the muscle tissue does. And as we age, the connective tissue singularly deteriorates faster than any other tissue. The neural tissue doesn't deteriorate anywhere near as much, or the epithelial tissue deteriorates a little bit, but nowhere near as much, and the muscle tissue deteriorates, but nowhere near as much as the connective tissue. And all of the things we hate about aging, whether it's the heart problems, or the vascular issues, or the gum disease, or the ruptures, or the hernias, or the osteoporosis, or the arthritis, or the wrinkles, or the prolapses, they're all connective tissue driven by connective tissue deterioration. And if you want to do one single thing to slow down the aging process and to age gracefully, it's build your connective tissue. The gums are connective tissue. When you have connective tissue deterioration, it happens globally. It happens in the bones, it happens in the joints, it happens in the skin, it happens in the fascia, which are wrapped around all the organs. It happens in the tendons and the ligaments, everywhere. The connective tissue deteriorates systemically or globally. So Gum disease is arthritis of the gums. It's a rupture of the gums, a prolapse of the gums. It's just the same thing, except it's happening in the gums that happens in your bones or your joints or your fascia or your skin or your heart or your blood vessels, all the places you have connective tissue. So the key to protecting against gum disease will help build your bones, and it will help build your joints and your ligaments and your fascia and your skin and your heart and your vascular system. And this is why I say building the connective tissue is the very essence of anti-aging, and aging is really a connective tissue issue. Connective tissue health challenge. And it's no, a lot of folks don't know this. You guys probably know this. Before Doc was the mineral doctor, he was the connective tissue doctor. And what got my attention, the first thing that got my attention when I heard Dead Doctors Don't Lie many years ago, going on 30 years ago now, was this guy's talking about the connective tissue, which is something we study in pharmacy school. The pig pack is the connective tissue building supplement. So build the connective tissue for the gums, the pig pack and healthy bone and joint pack. And by the way, the healthy bone and joint pack and the Osteo-fx are marketed for your bones and for your joints, but they're also for your skin. They're also for your heart. They're also for your blood vessels. They're also for the fascia. They're also for the gums. They're for everywhere you have connective tissue. And so we should rename the Osteo-fx, or the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, the Healthy Aging Pack, or Aging FX, or Anti-Aging FX, because they support the connective tissue whose deterioration is part and parcel and largely the source of aging, the cause of aging, and the ultimate source of all the misery and all the things we hate about the aging process. I'm in the skin business, as you know. And in the skin business, people will spend, in this country, billions, if not trillions of dollars to build their connective tissue with injections and surgeries and lasers and skincare products. Get them on the Osteo-fx. It's the best anti-wrinkle supplement you'll ever use, including, not to mention the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. So for
I'm gonna see if Steve and Michelle will make the Flesh Robot Pack.
The Flesh Robot Pack. All right. Yes. As in the glucogel caps. One of the cool things about the glucogel caps in particular, and building connective tissue in general, you know, I haven't talked about this for a while, but I used to talk about it all the time, is bone broth. You know, that was like kind of my thing, was to talk about bone broth. I haven't done that for a while. One of the things about bone broth, and bone broth is really rich in substances that build the connective tissue, is the small pieces of connective tissue, the components of connective tissue. Substances like collagen, substances like high hyaluronic acid, substances like glucosamine, is when you eat them, they go into your blood, the body sees the glucosamine or the high hyaluronic acid or the collagen floating around. And so the body says, my gosh, we must have an injury, because that's the only time glucosamine would be in the blood, if the connective tissue was torn or disturbed. And in response to that signal, guess what it does? It builds more connective tissue. So the components of connective tissue are one of the best things you could do to build your connective tissue, or ingesting the components of connective tissue. That's why bone broth is so important. And the glucogel caps are so important. And the collagen peptides are so important, is because they signal to the body, hey, let's get going. There's a wound here. There's an injury here. And that's how that's their mechanism of action. And I will add this one last thing, and then I do have to go, is there's a class of molecules that are long chains of sugar. These long chains of sugar, the fancy chemical word for sugar is saccharides. And when you have a lot of something, we can say poly. Poly means many. And so these long chains of sugars, which are part of the connective tissue, are called polysaccharides, many sugars, and they're part of the connective tissue. And these polysaccharides do the same thing that collagen and glucogel and high hyaluronic acid, which is actually a polysaccharide, does. They stimulate the production of connective tissue. And we at Longevity have one of the most amazing polysaccharides available on the market. And this polysaccharide is marketed for cancer because polysaccharides can stimulate the immune system. It's marketed for blood health because polysaccharides can liquefy the blood, improve circulation. But now you know polysaccharides also turn on the production of connective tissue, and that makes fucoidin and the FucoidZ, which is a polysaccharide, and a bunch of polysaccharides, as well as the body balance, now that we carry that, one of the most important connective tissue building supplements that we have. So in addition to the collagen peptides and the glucogel caps and the Osteo-fx, you should probably throw in the FucoidZ for all connective tissue issues. And building connective tissue will also help strengthen the intestine for folks who are dealing with leaky gut.
Oh, Pharmacist Ben, that totally makes sense. After losing 100 pounds and not have a bunch of saggy skin, I was taking the glucogel, the Osteo-fx, the FucoidZ.
Very good.
Just makes sense.
Yeah, you know what else? The new drug that everybody's taking, one of the side effects with this drug is deterioration of the connective tissue. Ozempic and Wegovy, these so-called GLP-1 inhibitors that people take to lose weight, one of the things that they do, one of the things that happens when you lose weight via this mechanism is your connective tissue starts to break down, and people get this thing called Ozempic face, or even worse, Ozempic butt. And that basically is what you're saying, how everything just sags and gets loose. Really, It's a thing. Ozempic butt is a thing, an Ozempic face.
Well, folks, you don't have to have an Ozempic anything because it's nutrition deficiencies that's causing that extra weight. And those nutritional deficiencies can be causing so many other things, including hormonal imbalance and starvation and dietary starvation, digestive issues. Pharmacist Ben, I know you've got to go. Amazing, amazing show. We had lots of other questions and comments, but it's just absolutely fabulous and fascinating to me. And everything you're talking about is taught in naturopath school.
Nice.
So I'm super excited to be able to take on and learn more about what you're doing, and then having it repeated and confirmed on Daily with Doc. I love it. I love it. So my dopamine is up. But yeah, so it's going to be a fantastic ride, and you're awesome. You're one of my inspirations for doing this. Dr. Wallach is one of my inspirations for doing this. And Dr. Joyce Hunt Brown is another one. And I'm excited. So folks, you guys are all so awesome, so amazing. You took more than an hour of time, invested it into getting knowledge so that you can feed yourself the right way with intentional supplementation. So whether you're responding to a poor health condition or wanting to just give your body so that you hopefully don't have to deal with it, you're in the right place. So get back with the person that shared this program with you. Thank you again, Pharmacist Benjamin Knight Fuchs.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you on with us. And folks, I couldn't do this program without all my team. So if I could get the team up here, I greatly appreciate it, as we have Kaylee joining us, one of the newest members of the team. I'm super excited for all that she's doing. We've got Ruth Ellen, my executive production manager, helping to keep us all in line and organized. We have Phyllis and Marilyn both doing amazing dictation into the chat, and also bringing in the questions from the different platforms, which we didn't get to Marilyn's questions she was bringing, but we'll get to them. And thank you so much, both of you wonderful, wonderful ladies. We have AJ, who is bringing in information and questions from the chat as well, which he is a big part of why we're on all these different platforms, because he is in touch with where people are, and that's what we want to do. We want to meet people where they're at, whether it's physically or whether it's on the web, getting information to individuals that's empowering, letting you know you don't have to be stuck with something that you're told is genetic, because epigenetics proves that's not true. So folks, give us 90 days. Give Dr. Wallach, his program, the company, your coach, 90 days on a program that is specialized for the things that you've got going on with your body. It's not the products that treat, diagnose, or cure. It's your body using the nutrients that are synergistically blended within these products to its optimal use. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us once again. Ben, we'll see you next week with Q&A.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. My name is Becca Dukes, as the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health, the hostess of this program, and a leader of this amazing team and others. I mean, I look at the participants here, and I love seeing all my team and more, and then out on the different platforms. You know, it's absolutely fantastic to see what you do is benefiting others. It is so rewarding. It has given me purpose with all of my misery and all the things that I had to go through health-wise to get to where I'm at. I'm able to use my story to help others. And that's how my team are as well. So folks, we invite you to give us 90 days. Get back with the person that shared this program with you. Tell them thank you and say, I need to get started. I want to get started. That's even better, because there is a better health journey waiting for you. And if there's no one to thank, give our team a call at 855-949-3377. Again, 855-949-3377. And Pharmacist Ben mentioned the book that Dr. Wallach and I wrote, Metabolic Syndrome. You can get that by giving Wellness Publications a call at 800-755-4656. Did I get it right? Yes. 800-755-4656. Ask for the metabolic syndrome. And one thing that I wanted to do when we were writing this book is make sure that the good foods, bad foods list is easy to find. And you've got it right here on the back of the book. And folks, if you're interested in wanting to know more, the inside cover of the book tells a little bit about the coaching course, the Certified Holistic Health Coach course offered by the Institute of Holistic Health that teaches about the 8 areas of health. That's why we use W in holistic, because we talk about the whole picture. But we're also focusing on those 4 areas of health, how they're affected by nutritional deficiencies, and what you can do to help yourself. We use the longevity products as a solution because we know they work. So folks, get back with the person that shared this program with you. If you'd like more information about the coaching program, you can go to coach.dailywithdoc.com. Again, that's coach.dailywithdoc.com. My name's Becca Dukes. It's my honor to have you here watching this program with us today. Have a great life, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.